Hi, welcome to another reading vlog. This week I'm going to be participating in two readathons. So we've got the Because We Can Readathon and the Tome Topple. I already filmed a TBR for those two readathons, so I will link that down below and probably here. But it comes down to the fact that I have a lot to read this week. So I'm going to read these three books. This is my Kindle, which is standing in for the Slug Queen Chronicles. And all three of these are for the Because We Can Readathon, so I'm going to prioritize those. So after this week, I still have a bit more time to finish the other books that I need to for the Tome Topple. I have actually started The Lies of Locke Lamora, although I've pretty much just read the prologue and a couple of pages more than that. So far I'm really liking it. It is making me wonder, like, anybody who's studied history, were bands of thieves or like gangs of thieves like the ones in this book ever a thing? I just don't really see how it would work, but maybe it did. Anyway, so far it's a lot of fun, so I'm hoping to get further through that. I have kind of worked out that I need to be reading about 200 pages a day. I could maybe get away with a bit less. But I'm aiming for 200 pages a day to make up for the days that I can't read, and hopefully that'll mean I can get through all of this. Who knows? I do also have some audiobooks. So for the Because We Can Readathon, I need to read How Rory Thorne Destroyed the Universe by Kay Eason. But I haven't started that yet because instead I'm listening to Fool's Errand, which I'm reading for the Tome Topple. So I'm still reading a book for a readathon, just not the one that I'm meant to be prioritizing. But I'm sure it'll all work out. So Fool's Errand is the first book in the Tawny Man trilogy, which is the third trilogy in the realm of the Elderlings. We're back with Fitz and the Fool, and they are trying to track down this lost prince. How far am I in now? So far I have listened to 13 hours of it, and I've got 10 hours to go. I am really enjoying it, especially because in this world certain humans have what's called the wit. It lets those people bond with animals, and in this book there's a bunch of cats talking to our main character and also as bond animals to other people, and I'm just really loving the cats. They're hilarious, and the voice that the audiobook narrator does is just funny, and I'm loving it so far. So I'm hoping to finish that off maybe today, because later I am going to play some Animal Crossing. I made a rule for myself today that I wasn't allowed to play Animal Crossing until I finished all the things on my to-do list, which I'm getting close. I'm not counting having read the pages that I need to read today. I think even when I let myself play Animal Crossing, I'll have to take some reading breaks, but that's okay. I can also listen to my audiobook while I'm watching Animal Crossing, although it doesn't always work out because sometimes Animal Crossing gets so exciting that I forget to listen to my audiobook and then I have to scroll backwards to figure out what's going on. But I do also want to play quite a lot of Animal Crossing this week, so I've got to balance reading and readathons up with Animal Crossing playing and also like life. So we are on lockdown still in New Zealand, but as of Thursday, we're going to go to another lower level of lockdown. So the malls are going to reopen, which I'm expecting to be somewhat of a disaster, and I'm not going anywhere near them. But even though we're on lockdown, there is still some life stuff going on. So I guess we will see how the week goes. Good morning. So today I have a deal with my sister that we both have to get all our productive things done, and then I will come and visit her island on Animal Crossing. Because I think that strategy worked fairly well yesterday, although I didn't get enough Animal Crossing out of it, but I still got quite a bit. Also, yesterday, I admit I did terribly with reading The Lies of Locke Lamora. I am enjoying it, although I will say it jumps back and forward in time all the time. Like, each chapter is divided into like 9 different bits, and then it'll approximately and then it'll jump back and forth in the narrative, and it's sometimes a little bit confusing. Like at the end of the first chapter we jumped back to what we'd been talking about in the prologue, and I mean it's quite a creative way of telling it, and in some ways I enjoy it, but in other ways I'm like, can you just tell me the story? Because at the end of each little bit it'll often do like a cliffhanger, which makes you go, oh, have you to read the next section? But then the next section jumps back in time or forward in time, and often it does link in really well, but just tell me the goddamn story. Anyway, it's probably because I'm trying to rush through it rather than just enjoying it. Still, I'm up to page 74, which is not anything like page 200, which is what I was aiming for. So today I'm going to try and, as well as doing other productive stuff, I'm going to try and walk around my house while reading this, because I'm also very behind on steps, because sitting around and playing Animal Crossing is not great for getting exercise. So I'm going to walk around and read this and try and get as far through it as I possibly can, because I really need to catch up. However, I am doing really good with Fool's Errand. I just have 4 hours left to listen to, which will probably take me like 3 hours. Maths. And I am really enjoying this. I'm really loving the way that the cats are incorporated into it. You know I love cats. And as well, the way that Robin Hobb is bringing the different kinds of magic together into the story and really exploring some of the potential effects is really amazing. I'm really loving it. I'm loving being back with Fitz, although he always makes so many mistakes with the way he does things, and he's always getting himself into such difficult situations, but I still love it. So I'm excited to finish this off today, and I mean, in my dreams I finished this off today too, but I think that's unrealistic. I just finished listening to Fool's Errand and it made me really sad. And it's funny because so there's several deaths and those made me cry and made me sad, but actually what made me saddest at the end was just like this father figure showing Fitz love, and like just their relationship made me cry. I think throughout this book there's like a really strong theme about family and friends and relationships, and it's just really heartwarming but also heartbreaking at times. But also it all kind of wrapped itself up, so I'm quite curious to see what the next book in the trilogy will be about. But I don't have time to read it anytime soon, so I don't think I'll be listening to any more audiobooks today. I will save How Rory Thorn Destroyed the Multiverse for tomorrow, but right now I'm going to read some more of this. So I am only up to page 82. That's not very good. And I'm also only up to 2,500 steps for the day. So very behind because it's now 4:30 already. Let's try and catch up. Good morning. I would much rather be asleep, but today I have my infusion at the hospital, which also I would rather not go to, just because like some people have had the virus at the hospital, including some nurses, which supposedly they've got that all under control, so it should be fine, but it just makes me nervous about going there. But never mind, I need my infusion. As far as reading goes, I'm still only up to page 120 of The Lies of Locke Lamora, so I don't really have anything new to say about it. I need to make more progress, but I feel like maybe I made a mistake deciding to do quite a challenging readathon. 2 readathons at once the week after getting my Switch, because all I want to do is play Animal Crossing. So that's not ideal. I have also this morning started listening to the audiobook of How Rory Thorn Destroyed the Multiverse. So far it's a bit boring. It's kind of just like a Sleeping Beauty retelling, but it's not really giving me much of the world. Like, it's a Sleeping Beauty retelling set in like a futuristic science fiction interplanetary world, but I don't know anything about the world yet, except that there are fairies that people didn't think were real anymore. But I just don't think I like the writing style. Anyway, I'm not that far in, so I'll keep pushing through with that. I also suspect it's not using the word multiverse in the same way that I normally would. So I don't think it's like a alternate reality type multiverse. It sounds like, I'm not sure because it hasn't really explained, but every time it uses the word multiverse it just sounds like it's talking about a big universe. So I'm afraid that's going to be disappointing, but I will keep listening to it. And I guess that's all. I better go to my infusion. Was I wearing this t-shirt last time I saw you, even though it's like the next day? Probably. Also, it doesn't go with this cardigan at all, but whatever. This is what we're wearing, and I'm back in this spot because apparently this is the only spot I live in this week. Anyway, the reason why I'm coming to give you guys an update is I finally hit page 200 of The Lies of Locke Lamora. So yesterday I did, after my infusion, go around to Jason's place, and I did get some Animal Crossing played while I was at his place, but I did not do any reading. But today I've managed to read a little bit, and then tonight I think what I'm going to do is like, I'm playing this mobile phone cat game, and every 15 minutes you have to like reset something going. So I'm going to like set a countdown timer, and then every 15 minutes after I've done that, I'll swap between reading my book and playing Animal Crossing. And we'll see how far through this I can get. I guess I am liking this a little bit more because finally things sort of started going wrong for Locke. Like, not much, but at least a little bit, because so far into it I just felt like it's all about his con and how clever he is, and I don't really care about whether his con gets pulled off or not. And so I just needed some bad stuff to happen to make it more interesting, and I think it's about to get going. So hopefully I'm going to enjoy this. Also, I have been listening to the audiobook of How Rory Thorne Destroyed the Multiverse. I'm not sure how far I'm through, actually. So I've listened to 3 hours of it, and so far I'm just not really liking it. I don't think I really like the writing style. It's kind of written in a really fairy tale way, but it also like distances you from the characters, and it's written in a very factual way. And I think as well the way the audiobook narration is done is making that even more obvious, and I don't care about any of the characters. I'm even thinking about DNFing it, except that it's an audiobook, so I know I'm going to go for some walks tomorrow. I need to. So I will definitely have more time to listen to it, so I guess I'll continue. But I'm very disappointed in the lack of multiverse stuff, given the word multiverse was in the title, but maybe something will happen soon. Anyway, that's tomorrow's problem. Today's problem is getting through this. I'm not going to finish it. Hi, so it's a Sunday afternoon, and I'm up to page 400 of The Lies of Locke Lamora, so I still definitely haven't finished this, and I feel like I'm going to struggle to even finish it today, but I am going to finish it today. Somehow I'm going to make it work. Instead of reading, I've just been like, I went for a walk with my mum and my sister. Jace came around and we went for that lovely walk along the cliff by the beach, which we haven't been able to do for so long because of the lockdown, but now that we're a little bit unlocked down, things are getting back to normal, traffic's getting awful, but we're able to go to some nice places again, which is nice. And of course I have also been playing lots of Animal Crossing. So, yeah, I'm not doing so good with reading. I don't think I'm going to get to Arrival or the Slug Queen Chronicles this week. I'll have to somehow work that out next week. But if I can finish this counts for 4 of the Because We Can Readathon challenges, so I'll still get that done. And if I can finish off the audiobook for How Rory Thorne Destroyed the Multiverse, then that will count for another challenge done. So that'll be 5 of 7. That's not terrible, right? Sort of, but I don't know. I'm going to go and try and finish this, and then I will probably check in with you guys later tonight. Okay, so once again, I lied and I didn't check in last night. However, last night, kind of quite late, I did finish off The Lies of Locke Lamora and also the audiobook for How Rory Thorne Destroyed the Multiverse, which means I can tick off 5 of the Because We Can Readathon prompts. I definitely didn't read as much as I was hoping to this week, but I still read 3 things, which is not bad considering that 2 of them were really long. Also, How Rory Thorne Destroyed the Multiverse was just not very good. It was so boring. I didn't care about anything that happened. I didn't really care about any of the characters, even though some of them had potential, and there was a lot in the world that had potential, but I never felt like it was fully explored or fully used. And I just didn't care about anything that was happening, so that was really boring and I didn't like it. And there was no multiverse. How can you have multiverse in the title and not have a proper multiverse? That's why I was excited about this. Ugh, disappointing. Anyway, this one as well, there's a lot of things about this that are really good, and I can totally see why a lot of people like it, and I did enjoy it, and I am looking forward to continuing the series, but I've been thinking about it. I think there's 3 things that really impact my enjoyment. I mean, other than the fact that I was trying to rush, but had way too much else going on, so I couldn't, which is all me. But as well, so firstly, I already mentioned the structure jumps back and forth all the time, which means it never quite flows, which slows it down a bit. Also, the world building is quite heavy-handed. There's a lot that you're being fed all the time, but also a lot of things go unexplained, so I wasn't necessarily a fan of the way the world building was done in this. But I think the biggest thing that made me not get engaged was just the characters had no real purpose. So they're pulling off these big cons, stealing all this money. The only real reason is because stealing is fun and they like proving that they're cleverer than anyone else, but they don't really have any goals, anything they're trying to achieve beyond taking advantage of other people. And given the fact that Locke is meant to be like super intelligent, I just don't really believe that he then wouldn't have some kind of vision of a better future for them. Even if it's still stealing, like wouldn't he want to use all this money for something? And it even talks about in the book how they don't have a plan for what to do with all this money that they're stealing. And as well, I don't think that it really set up Locke as a very good person. So then some of the things that happened at the end didn't really make that much sense or didn't seem to fit with his character very well. I just don't think everything that happened at the end was as well set up as it could have been, and given the fact that there was so much going on throughout the book, I don't understand why it wasn't. Also, all through this we keep hearing about the love of Locke's life and we never meet her. I thought we were building up to meet her. I'm sure we'll meet her in future books in the series. I don't know, I feel like I have lots of criticisms of this book, but overall, like, I think it's a good book. I'm so conflicted about this book. I need to think about it more. Anyway, I think for me that wasn't the best reading week, although I did really love Fool's Errand. And this is a book that's on my 20 books I want to read in 2020 list, so I made progress on that list. So not a terrible reading week. This week was just a bit weird for me. But now it's Monday, so I'm moving on to the next week from this week, even though vlogs are weird when you wrap them up after the week is finished. Anyway, let me know if you've read any of these books that I read this week, because I'd love to talk with you more about them down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you're doing well, and I will see you next time.